Good morning, my name is Kaylee Kennedy. I'm a commercial lead in the construction category at Crown Commercial Service. CCS are pleased to be hosting this webinar on collaborative innovation in construction that will be delivered to you today by Wates, who you may be aware are one of the many key contractors working on CCS's public sector frameworks. The current economic climate and challenges within the construction industry continues to put pressure on delivering value for money in the public sector. This webinar provides insight on how to approach collaborative innovation to achieve shared objectives, agreed success measures, and targets. It also offers you the unique opportunity to hear from an expert contractor in this field using 4 real-life case studies delivered via CCS's gold standard construction framework. One case study in particular benefited from an alliance that was enabled by the industry standard Framework Alliance contract, also known as the FAC1, which underpins all CCS construction frameworks. The presentation will be approximately 30 to 35 minutes, followed by 10 minutes to answer any questions you may have before drawing the webinar to a close at 11 a.m. This webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Crown Commercial Service YouTube channel. As such, all attendees' microphones and cameras will be switched off for the duration, and we respectfully request that attendees do not use their own recording devices. That being said, we do want this webinar to be an interactive session and invite you to submit any questions you may have. You can do this by clicking on the icon, which should be located in the top right corner of your screen, which looks like a question mark inside of a speech bubble. We will aim to answer as many questions as we possibly can at the end of the presentation. Any questions that we may not be able to answer during the webinar will be taken offline and subsequently shared as appropriate. I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed today's session and that it helps you to maximise value optimisation from public sector contracts. So, without further delay, I'd like to introduce you to Steve Beachy to begin the webinar.
Wates is a business that has operated in the built environment since 1897, and over that time has seen many innovations come and go. Today, the Wates business is built around its purpose, which is reimagining places for people to thrive, which we realise through our promises, which are thriving places, thriving planet, and thriving people. So what do we do at Wates? Well, in the public sector, we work across the whole public estate in many sectors, reflecting most of the large departments in government, delivering schools, prisons, housing, hospitals, office accommodation, and also the refurbishment of parliamentary estate. Many of these projects have been procured through CCS frameworks. We have a turnover around 2.4 billion, which about 65% of that turnover is in the public sector, and we're delivering construction, maintenance, and facilities management. Next slide, please. As I said, many of our current public sector projects are delivered through the CCS frameworks, and here are 4 examples. So first of all, top left, perhaps the most well known is the Ministry of Justice Capacity Programme, where we are on 3 alliances to help deliver 20,000 prison places. The next example, bottom left, is the British Library at Boston Spa near York, which is where we're delivering a zero carbon archive building to hold items of national importance in climatically controlled conditions. And then top right, we have Merseyside Fire, which is much more than just a fire station. It's a state-of-the-art training facility and a national centre of excellence for fire and rescue. And then finally, bottom right, we have Rodney Street in Manchester, and it's no ordinary housing scheme. It's a 123 unit local authority project for Manchester City Council, which is being built to passive house standards and is part funded by Homes England. Next slide, please. So how do we do it? Our business model is focused on developments, construction and maintenance activities. As you can see from this graphic, collaboration, partnerships, innovation and technology are key components of our delivery processes. In the blue circles, you can see our key focus areas of the business in develop, build and maintain. In build, we are focusing on optimizing modern methods of construction, or MMC as we know it, and minimizing operational carbon. So I wanted to start here talking about what collaborative innovation isn't before we say something about what it is. The most common definition is that collaboration is just people working together, but that won't always result in collaboration. And I will explain why. What you need in addition to ignite collaboration is connection. If you Google collaboration, you will get pages and pages of IT companies trying to help you collaborate by connection, and that is an important part of it. Cooperation, working together to a common set of goals. Coordination, again, we work together with other contractors and supply chain partners to coordinate program and logistics, amongst other things. So true collaboration could feature all these things, but only comes to life when we leave our company badge at the door and explore new ideas for the framework or project to benefit everyone. Next slide, please. The simplest way for me to see innovation is finding a better way that creates value. That's regardless of whether it's new and shiny, but does it make us more productive? So collaborative innovation is the act of teams working together and turning those new ideas into something that creates effective improvement. Next slide, please. So let's start with some structure that might create the right environment to collaborate. There are several models we can follow, and this one may seem odd because it's formal, but ISO 44001, Collaborative Business Relationships, is a good start. It focuses on the relationship between collaborating business and sets out 8 useful things to think about. So first of all, it won't surprise you that it starts with agreeing shared goals and objectives. And it moves on to how we're going to connect and share knowledge. It focuses on how we select people in our teams. And then the fourth one is on the partners we select from our supply chain. It acknowledges things sometimes go wrong, so effective communication and problem resolution is really important. And the sixth area is how we create value and drive efficiency, make sure it's at the heart of collaborative working and improvement. And seventh, it's how we measure the success of this approach through smart metrics. At the final area, our exit strategy, I prefer to focus on what's been achieved, the legacy created, and the lessons learned for continuous improvement. But it's a useful framework. Next slide, please. So we have the environment to collaborate, but do we have all the right people in the room? If you agree that true collaboration harnesses the strength of everyone in a project ecosystem, you need to engage everyone. It's a collective, and it's clear to me that the main ingredients for great collaboration are, first of all, clients, and they need to adopt an output-based approach and clear about the needs of the project and carry out early engagement with contractors and the other partners involved. The contractors, they need to work together with all the other contractors around them with a common set of goals and objectives. The consultants, you need to help standardize design and process and freely offer the lessons learned from other projects that they might be involved in, as do all parties in the collaboration. Supply chain, again, engaged early so we can ensure that all the new technical solutions are understood, that there are different things on offer, and that they can then be built into the design early. And it also helps to solve perhaps technical challenges with new ideas. And manufacturers, all the best R&D in the industry is often driven by the manufacturers of the components, but it's often difficult to actually engage with them and get them involved in a project. And it's important in a collaboration that they really are brought into and part of the process. Next slide, please. Collaborative innovation takes many forms. It is not just about latest technology or a fancy widget, although clearly that can play an important part. For us, innovation is more than the application of new technology, but also the exploration of better systems, processes, and business models. So on this slide, I've suggested 6 topics for collaborative innovation. First of all, the community. So social or community value really does matter, and partnerships that drive social enterprise involvement and SME, small, medium-sized enterprise spend, and create local jobs and skills, and really enhance learning in schools. That's a really important part of a project outcome, and involving a community is really important. The next one is productivity. Design tools or new ways of working, like collaborative planning, and the benefits of alliancing are really important in terms of driving better productivity, which is one of the big issues that we face as a UK economy, is really driving that productivity. Technology is the next area. Of course, technology is a hotbed for innovation. BIM, digital twin, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, drones and robotics. There's lots and lots of technology available to us now, which is definitely helping to improve efficiency and drive out savings. I've focused here on you can see the examples of the technology. There's obviously field tools and wearable technology, which we're definitely adopting widely across the business. The next area, optimization. The drive for standardization of kit of parts and solutions, where we can have 60 to 70% plus modern methods of construction contained within the design, has created significant innovation, and many of the developments in Wates that we've been working on are very much around the kit of parts approach. That's also enabled us to work with our off-site facilities, because we have factories through our Prism business that drive modern methods of construction in mechanical and electrical services, which has been very effective. Sustainability. The climate crisis has driven significant innovation in both optionality to drive down embodied and operational carbon and new products, and we see lots of examples of that. And finally, but should have been probably firstly, safety. Safety in our industry is absolutely critical and is a top priority at Wates, and has resulted in some really important innovation, both in terms of managing safety through applications on smartphones and also using other technology and automation. I'll move on to the next slide, please. So I'm now just going to talk through some very specific examples. The first one, which is a personal favourite of mine, is the new social partnership portal, which we will be launching very soon. Research has shown that spending with social enterprises creates a social return on investment of up to £10 for every pound spent. So together with up to 20 of the UK's leading contractors and with the support of Construction Line, we have created a social enterprise marketplace. Social enterprises can register with the portal and sell their services and products directly to contractors. This will remove barriers to entry. The portal provides a route for social enterprises to access large commercial construction projects without restricting them, which some of the public sector red tape can for small businesses like social enterprises. The second one, boosting supplier visibility. It allows social enterprises to create a profile to act as their shop window to showcase their business and skills to potential buyers. And thirdly, increasing buyer confidence to make social procurement the norm. The portal aims to reassure buyers that they are dealing with reputable social enterprises with the correct skill set for their projects. Next slide, please. So my productivity example is real and current, and a great example of a client setting the right conditions for collaboration. Following a mini competition on the Crown Commercial Services Framework, 4 contractors were selected to deliver a £3.5 billion prison programme. What is unique here is that partners were working together on standard designs, integrated supply chain and sustainability initiatives as an alliance. It started with a 6-month period of client, consultant, contractors working together to look at the similarities of each project before looking at the individual differences. There's lots of detail there on the slide, but it's a really, really important project we've been working on. Next slide, please. So the third example is about real technology, and for me, the revolution in the use of mobile technology on sites, the use of field tools, has been a huge change in the industry. iPads packed with all the software and applications needed to prepare, program and deliver each project. The ability to access safety information, BIM models, drawings, quality and defect management tools has had a huge impact. An average site manager on a Wates site using field tools gets to spend much more time supporting the supply chain out on site and driving high quality standards. It really has made a big difference. There's some more detail there in the slide. Next slide, please. So the fourth example is about sort of design and modern methods of construction, which is using our Prism factory, which is what I described earlier for mechanical and electrical off-site components. The government drive for a presumption in favour of off-site to help drive sustainability is well documented. This is aimed at improving safety, lowering risk and reducing programme, greater efficiencies of off-site MMC and certainty on resource time and quality. But the real story is the time it saves. For example, Cumbria is a difficult place for skilled trades to get to. It's quite a difficult area for cities nearby, and so 2,000 less site hours on a recent project that we did in Cumbria for the DFE, and we did that through prefabricating risers and distribution of M&E generally, both horizontally and vertically. And it made a huge impact, as I say, reduced 2,000 hours, which is really, really important particularly when you've got areas that are difficult to get to. On a recent HMRC project in Leeds, 650 models were built in the factory. Modules were built in the factory at Prism in Coventry, which saved 5,120 hours of work on site. And obviously all the benefits with that logistically and from a carbon efficiency point of view. My only word of caution is the balance between off-site and local spend must be considered in the strategic planning of a project at the outset. Because obviously when using off-site components, it does take the local labour element out of the project. Next slide, please. So now to my favourite innovation of recent times, the Innovation Network. We started it about 4 years ago to address an issue that product manufacturers we spoke to were experiencing, where they said they were having trouble getting their products to customers. Some amazing sustainable inventions were just not getting specified and considered, so we created a marketplace for them. Working in a similar way to a sort of green dragon's den, we provided an audience of clients and specifiers, and the manufacturers pitched their products to them. It's all online now through a free to access portal. It has become business as usual for project teams working with many of our different customers, including Lloyds Bank. The marketplace is currently home to over 40 innovation partners, placing some brilliant sustainable products in over 14 of our current clients' building portfolios. Next slide, please. And last but by no means least, we should finish with a safety innovation which has been around for some time but continues to make a massive impact. Mobile technology is such a major part of our lives now, providing our site teams with quick and easy to use apps to report both good and bad safety feedback. The more trends and data that we can collect and analyse, the quicker we can address emerging risks. By placing that ability on tablets, phones and screens on site, we have seen dramatic improvements in site safety. So that was a quick tour through, in my view, some of the right environments and ecosystem that we've needed to establish to encourage collaborative innovation. And together with what I hope some of you found were useful examples of down-to-earth, great practice and what we have adopted that is having a real impact. Next slide, please. So thank you for listening. And if I could leave you with just 3 thoughts. First of all, innovation only succeeds when it's done collaboratively, and we harness the ideas of a whole widespread team. Secondly, innovation is not just about the latest technology or a fancy widget, but it includes process and approach in terms of how we do things. And the CCS really are key enablers of innovation and collaborative contracting, and that sets a really important environment for innovation to thrive. Thank you for listening, but I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Steve, for that. Some fantastic examples there of the approach and practical application involved in collaborative innovation in construction. I will check to see if we've got any questions. Can't see any in there at the moment, so I'll give it a couple of minutes for people to gather any thoughts that they might have, any questions that you might want to pop in the chat. If you would like to do that, there is a question button at the top right-hand corner of the screen. If you click on the question mark with inside a speech bubble, and then you should be able to submit your questions from there. But in the meantime, I do have a couple of questions that I'd like to ask, if possible. So first one is, what have you found is the biggest challenge when trying to work collaboratively, and how do you overcome it?
Thanks, Kaylee. I think so there's a number of things I'd pick on there. So first of all, it's quite interesting really, because as an industry, if we look back at sort of where we've come from, collaboration hasn't necessarily been the norm. In fact, because of the nature of the way that contractors compete with one another and the whole sort of culture and behaviours that come from that, we are trying to sort of change culture and change behaviours. And this is down to individuals, but also down to organisations. And it's that's one of the interesting challenges, because you need people to come with a fresh set of ideas, principles, that they want to collaborate, that they want to come to the table, that they want to share, that they want to learn. They're curious about how other people are doing things, and that's one of the interesting challenges, and that's an ongoing challenge, because obviously when somebody's done something in a certain way for many decades, it's quite difficult to create that change. So certainly that's one of the key challenges. I think also, though, it's also about the challenges about allowing time with early engagement for the team to learn to work together and to collaborate. That does take time, it takes effort, it takes space, and it's really important to maximize the benefits of collaboration. That early engagement is really important, because that's how a lot of the benefits are actually realized early in the design stage, to get those ideas from manufacturers, from supply chain partners, and from contractors, in conjunction with all the other parties in the collaboration.
Thanks, Steve, and couldn't agree more. It is so important to get involved so early on in the stage of the project. Okay, so we have another question. So that is, have any concerns been raised about intellectual property within the Alliance members or the supply chain?
That's an important question, and thanks for that. It's interesting. We haven't really seen many issues with that yet. The main issue obviously is that there's a delicate balance sometimes between what are called commercial sensitivities sometimes. So that has definitely been something that's been talked about. So that is an area. Not so much seen challenges around intellectual property, but it is a consideration, and perhaps that's something that has to be worked through on a sort of project by project basis. It's interesting, isn't it? Because as we develop more and more technology, that intellectual property does need to be protected if it's something that is of commercial benefit to somebody. But no, we haven't seen that come out so far.
Great, thanks, Steve. And then another question that I had is, you mentioned the Wates Innovation Network, or WIN, on one of your slides, and some of the partners that you've got involved there, but what is the uptake on something like that from a customer perspective, and how are you encouraging participation?
Okay, thank you for that question, Kaylee. So first of all, it's been a journey. So in the early days, we had to put a lot of work in to sort of set it up, to bring the different suppliers in, and then create those links. So it was quite tricky in the early days, I would say. But today, over 40 customers that we work with are engaged in WIN in terms of the innovation portal. That includes HMRC. It includes many of the different police authorities, the City of London, a number of local authorities, and also in the private sector as well. As I mentioned, Lloyds Bank and M&S are two key partners there. So we have got a lot of engagement. A lot of the innovative products have been used with those different customers, and we've been basically running these Green Dragon's Den style events to basically enable those suppliers to showcase what they have to offer. Now, a lot of them are focused around transition to net zero, which obviously is a very important area that people are very interested in hearing about. So overall, it's been successful, and as I say, we have got good engagement from customers.
That sounds great, thank you. So it doesn't look as though there are any other questions in the chat. So it does appear we have now approached the end of the Q&A session. To help CCS continue to deliver insightful sessions like this one, upon exiting the webinar or via a link to a survey that you should receive by email, please could we ask that you take 1 minute to answer 3 very short multiple choice questions. If you are a registered customer or an existing contractor of CCS's construction works and associated services or CWAS framework, you can download the case studies for the projects mentioned in today's webinar from the corresponding CWAS Knowledge Hub, also known as K-Hub. If you are a customer who has not yet registered for the CWAS framework or K-Hub, please email info@crowncommercial.gov.uk stating your request to register and to access the case studies. To clarify, no contractors, consultants or suppliers will be granted access to the CWAS K-Hub unless they are an existing CCS CWAS contractor. CCS will be hosting more contractor-delivered webinars throughout the year on a number of specialised topics, including ones from Tilbury Douglas on the 3rd of April, 10 till 11 AM, on achieving best value through early contractor involvement, something that Steve from Wates has touched upon today, and also from Balfour Beatty on the 29th of July, 10 till 11 AM, on how to identify the best partner, with a focus on incentivised and collaborative contracting. You can see all of the events that we have planned by visiting www.crowncommercial.gov.uk/events, which you can then filter if you wish on the left-hand side, for example, filtering by products and services, selecting construction, and clicking any events of interest to you to register to attend. I'd like to thank everyone for attending the webinar today. I really hope you found it valuable and took something from it. I'd like to extend a special thanks to Steve and Wates for delivering an excellent presentation and knowledge share. And with that, the webinar has now come to an end, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.